Hello, my Bill 5000 Nation. How's everyone doing today? Hopefully, everyone's having a great day. If not, I hope it gets better from here. All right, we are back with another MrBallen video. This one is titled Top 3 Videos with Disturbing Backstories Part 6. This was actually requested by a subscriber, so we all know how excited I get when videos are requested. Because I'm not the reason why we're traumatized. It makes me happy. Yeah. Alright, let's get into today's story. Go ahead, turn them lights down low, put on something comfy, cuddle up with someone special. Let's get disturbed. Let's get disturbed. Yeah, that seems appropriate. It's in the title. I mean, why not?
Today, I'm going to share with you 3 progressively more disturbing stories, and at the end of each of them, I'm going to share with you the video that is famously associated with them. But before I get into today's stories, if you're a fan of the strange, dark, and mysterious delivered in story format, then you've come to the right channel because that's all I do, and I upload 3, 4, even 5 times every week. So if that's of interest to you,
Like I said, MrBallen Classic.
please offer to make the like button a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but employ a 6-to-1 peanut butter to jelly ratio. Also, please subscribe to this channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss.
Honestly, I'm not even gonna lie, I would still eat that. That's kind of how I like my peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, so. Yeah.
Any of my weekly uploads. All right, let's get into today's stories.
It happens.
June of 2015, 30-year-old mother of 2, Lisa McKenzie, lived in what she called a safe neighborhood in Bridgend, Wales. One day when she was cleaning up her kids' toys in her backyard, she noticed something strange about her back door. She thought maybe one of her kids had taken paint and slapped it across the back door, or perhaps it was even mud. But then when she walked up to the door itself, she could tell that there were 2 very deep gouges in the door right next to the locking mechanism. Also, the key portion of the lock had loads of scratches all over it. Initially, she thought maybe
the person was really drunk, thought that they was at their house, and just got angry because their key wouldn't work. So they just started beating the key off of it, and then for some reason they was wearing cleats because they golf. Boom, figured it out. And they just start kicking it, and then it was like, oh, wait a minute, new phone, who this? And they walked to the other house, which was their house, and they went right in.
these have been here the whole time and I just haven't noticed them until right now. But when she looked at the 2 gouge marks in the door, they looked fresh. Since she did not own a dog and didn't know of any other dogs in the area that might come into her property that could have scratched up the door, she figures, okay, it's gotta be my kids. So she calls her kids outside and she points at the marks on the door, and the kids swear they didn't do it. And they say, I don't remember ever seeing that. That's new. At this point, Lisa has this sinking feeling that someone must have tried to break into our house. But she doesn't want to scare her kids, so she tells them to go back in the house. They go inside and she's standing in front of the door and she's just looking at the marks thinking like, what do I do? And she notices in the bushes right next to the door,
call the police, call 911, call the person you're renting the house from, call the neighborhood watch. There's a lot of things you can fucking do. Don't just sit there and twiddle your thumbs, lady. Someone try to break in my house. I don't know what to do. I'm just going to sit here, see if they accomplish it this time.
there's something silver sitting in the bush. She bent down and picked up a wire that she immediately recognized as a windshield wiper insert because she had recently had to replace her windshield wipers because one of the inserts was missing. She also noticed this wire that was very rigid had been bent up at the end like a
So someone literally took it out of her windshield wiper and tried to break into her house with it?
hook. And it was at this point that Lisa went from maybe someone's trying to break in
Someone's definitely trying to fucking break in.
to definitely someone just tried to break in. They're using the wire from my windshield to try to defeat the lock. Lisa didn't
Oh
make much
shit.
money, but with the money she did have, she went out and got the most expensive, sophisticated surveillance camera that she could put on the back of her house to monitor that back door. And in addition to the camera, starting that night, Lisa began compulsively checking every door, every lock, every window, everything that could secure the house. She would check 3, 4, 5 times before going to bed every single night. And then the next morning, she would get up and she would review the footage from the night before.
Yeah, something like that can completely alter your whole life. You can be a carefree person that just doesn't let things like that get to you. And then something like that happens to you, and you get so inside of your own head that you make a prison for yourself. Been there, done that. It's awful. It is, and it's really hard to break that habit. I fast forwarded it. One more.
And for the next several weeks, no one tried to break into her house. There was no suspicious activity recorded on the camera. Everything was normal. Until Monday, July 13th, when she woke up and noticed her back gate, not her door, but the gate leading into her yard, was slightly open. Now, because she was obsessively checking every door, every window, every lock, that included that gate. Meaning the night before, she had triple checked that that gate was shut and locked. So for it to be open right now meant something had happened the night before. And
that means no bueno, no good, no.
So without even going outside, she goes right to her security camera footage, and she would say that what she saw made her physically ill. Earlier that morning at 1:15 a.m., an unknown man wearing a rain jacket and gloves walks up to the back of their house and puts his hands and his face right up against the window and starts looking in the window. And then he steps back, pulls a flashlight out, and starts looking in the kitchen with his flashlight, just brazenly looking in the house. And at some point, he puts the flashlight down and looks up and clearly notices the camera that she has installed. He looks at it for a minute and then just kind of shrugs and goes right back to shining his light into the kitchen before going around to the door itself and trying the door and fidgeting with the door to open it. It was locked. He goes to the window,
Yeah.
he tries to open.
Yeah, because she's paranoid as shit, and this ain't making not a damn thing any fucking better.
Open the window, it's locked, and he would make his way down the side of the house trying to open all of the windows until walking around to the back side of the house where there wasn't a camera. And then when he couldn't open any of the windows or doors because Lisa was diligent about locking everything, he must have just given up and left. Lisa's horrified. She gets in touch with police. She shows them the footage, but unfortunately, his face was kind of obscured in the video, and so they were never able to identify him. Here are the highlights from Lisa's security footage.
Oh yeah, motherfucker's definitely up to no good. Like, he even stepped over to the side and like reached to mess with that door. Nah, nah. Yeah, he's shifty, motherfucker. And that ain't the first house he's broke into. He's got it. He's got it down fucking pat, bud. Oh, people. If people put half the effort into trying to fuck over someone else as they did like a job or figuring out a skill they're good at, evidently sneaking, do something sneaky. Be a private investigator. Walk around, catch all the cheating wives and husbands and senators doing stupid shit. Use your power for good, not evil, people.
On September 8th, 2017, 19-year-old Kanika Jenkins, along with her 3 friends, were driving to the Crown Plaza Hotel in Chicago, Illinois. It was a Friday night, and the girls had been invited to a big birthday party on the 9th floor of the hotel. They arrived at the hotel around 11 p.m., and by the time they got up to room 926, the room was packed with their friends, the music was loud, and the drinks were flowing. A few hours into the party, a witness would
get it jumping, bruh. Yeah,
tell police that when they went up to give Kanika a hug, she could barely stand, she was so intoxicated. Another witness said when everybody was up, dancing and having a great time, Kanika was sitting on the side of the room, apparently too drunk to even stand up. At about 3 a.m., Kanika and the 3 friends she had showed up with decided it was time to leave the party.
Either she had a really, really good time, or she was having a really, really bad time. It's weird how that works, ain't it? Man, she was gone. Like, what happened? Was she okay? Yeah, she was just having a good time. Or it could go. She was gone. Like, damn, she must have been having a good time. Nah, dude, she was having a hard go of it. She was drinking to forget something. She cut everything. You can go one of 2 ways. Every time. Every time. Every time.
And head home. So they make their way into the hall. Security cameras would pick them up in the hall. They go down to the lobby, and that's when Kanika realizes she doesn't have her car keys or her phone. Her friends, who were not nearly as intoxicated as Kanika, told her to stay in the lobby. They would go back up to the hotel room and look for her things. Her friends go back upstairs, they search the room for a few minutes, and they finally find her purse that had her cell phone and her keys in it. They go back down to the lobby, and Kanika's not there.
Oh,
now,
shit.
they assumed she must have already left the hotel and was waiting at the car for them, but when they got to
Hey, they should have left someone with her. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you why they should have left someone with her. Because drunkards like to roam. Everything's a fucking adventure time with them. And they Finn and Jake that shit. And it usually bad things happen, people. Don't ever trust a drunk night.
the car, she wasn't there. So they all pile into the car and they call Kanika's mother and they say, hey, we just left this party and I think everything's fine, but we can't find Kanika and we have her phone and we have her keys. And they explained that they had left the party and she'd lost them and that she was down in the lobby and now she wasn't here anymore. And Kanika's mom wanted to know, were you guys drinking? And it was clear the friends were a little bit cagey about it. And they said, oh no, maybe a drink or two, but I'm sure she's fine. Everything's just fine. And Kanika's mom just felt like there's something off here.
That little son of a bitch came for me. I could punch shit back. Don't lie to me. Don't you dare figure that bullshit. That's my baby. I know my baby. My baby was shit-faced, wasn't she?
It's the middle of the night. You don't know where my daughter is. And so she said she was coming to the hotel and she was going to find Kanika. Kanika's mom arrives at the hotel around 5 a.m. And the first thing she does is she goes in and talks to the front desk manager and says, hey, my daughter was here. They were having a party up on the 9th floor and her friends can't find her. I'm sure she's fine, but would you mind using the security footage to show us where she went? Because we don't know if she left the hotel or if she's still here. Would you mind showing us the footage? And the hotel was...
Mama's big brain. I mean, shit. She coming in swinging it. Just pulls it out right on the desk and says, yep.
Totally unhelpful. They were like, well, we can't show it to you unless there's an official missing person report. Which, by the way, is a complete fabrication. That's not true. They could have showed it to her. They just didn't want to. And so they told her, sorry, you're going to have to file a missing person report. And so obviously, Kanika's mom...
That's some straight bullshit. It is. And I guarantee you the only reason why they did it was because they had been drinking and everything else. Probably underage. Just wants to cover their own asses.
Mother is very frustrated.
And it probably would have saved the child's life because I have a feeling she dead.
And she just wants to find her daughter. So she leaves the hotel and she calls police. And she asks them...
I know. Bill, it wouldn't be a MrBallen story if everyone lived. I know.
Can you please come down to this hotel and get them to show us the security footage because we can't find my daughter? The police were willing to help, but they viewed this as, your daughter was at a party. She's probably with her friends somewhere. She's bound to show up. She probably went to another room.
Bitch, her friends are here. Don't tell me that. Look, I don't care if you got a badge or not. I'm gonna bitch slap you. You tell me my daughter's just misplaced. It's about as bad as telling someone, hey, I know your kid's really bad off and dying, but we're just going to reset him like a video game. I'm going to punch you right in the fucking face. Don't tell me shit like that. That's my child. That's my progeny. I'm going to rip your penis off and probably beat you to death with it if you tell me some shit like that.
and they advise her that she should just wait a couple of hours,
Nope.
see if your daughter turns up, and if she doesn't, call us back.
No. No. I do not want to wait a couple hours. No. You are going to show me the videotapes. Or so help me God. I will fucking purple nurple you. I will titty twist you so hard that your other nipple will pop off and run away out of fear. I want to see the videotapes. I want my child to not be missing no more. I want police. I want SWAT team. I want FBI. I want the I want vampire hunters coming in.
Kanika's mom is now doubly frustrated that there's no one who's going to help her, and so she decides that she's going to
It'd been all bad. I would been going through there like a fucking wrecking ball.
search for her daughter on her own. And so she goes back into the hotel and she goes up to the 9th floor and she begins going room to room, knocking on every single
I was about to say I would tell them like, all right, y'all don't want to show me a video. Then how about this? I'm gonna go to every little motherfucking room you have in this shitty ass hotel, and I'm gonna start knocking. And when they come to the door, I'm be like, hey, have you seen my daughter? She's come up missing from a party that they're having here in the hotel, and the hotel is refusing to help me find her. So I'm taking it upon myself to go room to room and knock on every door because they won't let me see a video. People would be calling that front desk, bro. You have no fucking clue.
door and seeing if Kanika is inside or if anybody knows anything about Kanika. And so for hours, her mom goes room by room, floor by floor, and is getting nowhere until at 1:15.
Nah, she's getting pissed. She's getting somewhere. She's getting to the land of fuck uppery. She'd better start fucking shit up. Because I done would have.
p.m. This is now 10 hours after Kanika left the party and vanished.
No.
The hotel finds out Kanika's mom is going door to door, and they call the police on her and say she needs to leave. She's trespassing now. Police show up to deal with Kanika's mother, who sees the police and says, can you please just ask them to show you the security footage? My daughter's been missing for 10 hours now. I have her phone. I can't get in touch with her. And the police say, okay, fine. They go to the front desk. They say, show us the security footage. They show them the footage, but it's just the exits of the hotel. And they see Kanika going inside, but they don't see anybody leaving. And I guess that was enough for the police and the hotel. And they said, hey, we did our job. She apparently is still in the hotel somewhere, but we can't help you anymore. And no one looked anymore at the footage. And so Kanika's mom is once again now not even allowed to be in the hotel, and no one's reviewing the footage. And so she's got nothing she can do. Police would go back though that night at 10 p.m., so 17 hours after Kanika has gone missing, to review the footage again. And they start sifting through other footage beyond just the exits, and they discover Kanika stumbling through the hotel at 3:20 in the morning. She leaves the lobby and makes her way downstairs to the basement. She walks down the hall and can barely stand, and she goes into the kitchen. And then when she's in the kitchen, she kind of stumbles through the kitchen and then vanishes out of sight. When the police are not able to see Kanika on any other camera after she goes into the kitchen, they decide to just go down to the kitchen and look for her in there. And so at 12:48 a.m. on Sunday now, this is almost 24 hours after she's gone missing, they discover Kanika. She had stumbled into a walk-in freezer that was left open for reasons we don't know, and then once inside, she had accidentally shut the door, but she was too drunk to open it up again, and she froze to death. Although Kanika's death was ultimately ruled an accident, one could make the case that had the hotel allowed Kanika's mother to review the footage just 2 hours after Kanika went missing, perhaps she would have found the footage that led them to the kitchen. They could have gone down and found her before she froze to death, but we'll never know. Here is the final footage of Kanika stumbling through the hotel before she ultimately landed in the freezer.
I'm not laughing. This is a very serious story. Okay, the poor girl lost her life. Let me break down the smile. If I was that drunk, I don't think I would have made it that far. This poor girl was bouncing off of fucking everything. Oh my God. How did she even make it there? She about fell going up the steps. Y'all seen that, right? Like, she about fell going up the steps. Oh my God. No, that really pisses me off though. Not the fact that she was that intoxicated. So you're out, have your fun, do whatever. The fact that a scared to death mother went to this shitty hotel to try to find her daughter. And instead of helping a parent in need find their child, what they decided to do is pussyfoot around about it and act like everything was just, oh, we just can't do that. Oh, now she's doing this, call the police. Oh. Fuck that. Should have got off their asses, fucking did a thorough search for her. I guarantee you, if it had been a younger child and wouldn't have had the potential of being drunk or anything else, everything would have fucking stopped. Just because she was older, it doesn't fucking matter. She is still someone's child. Get off your ass. Fucking do something. That poor child could have been saved. That's ridiculous. Heaven's Gate. Knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door. Sorry, that's
In the early 1970s, a man named Marshall Applewhite was fired from his music teaching job for having an inappropriate relationship with a male student. Shortly after, he admitted himself
They'll do it. They'll do it every time.
into a psychiatric institution where he met a nurse who worked there named Bonnie Nettles. Both had a deep interest in biblical prophecy, and Applewhite, after meeting Nettles, was convinced they had met in a previous life. Nettles agreed and took it a step further, saying extraterrestrials had come to her and preordained that she would someday meet Applewhite. The two did not have a romantic relationship at all. It was strictly platonic. They bonded over a desire to ascend to a higher level of existence and ultimately reach the kingdom of heaven. Applewhite began calling himself Bo, and Nettles became Peep, and together they would start an infamous cult known as Heaven's Gate. The premise of Heaven's Gate was that an alien spacecraft that they simply called the UFO was going to come to Earth and whisk away Heaven's Gate cult members, elevating them to a new world and a better life that they referred to.
I think I remembered this from whenever I was younger, bro. Hold on. Hold on. Is this the one with, like, obviously a cult? And they literally thought, like, a UFO was, like, behind a comet or some bullshit like that. And that whenever it passed over, they had to drink punch or kill themselves or whatever the case may be, but for their spirits to be able to go to this UFO, the spaceship that's hidden behind a comet, and be taken to this new place. Is that this? Is that this? Is that this? Because I remember that from whenever I was younger. I thought that was the dumbest shit I ever heard in my life. Stopped drinking Kool-Aid for a long time.
As Tela, or the evolutionary level above human. There was a catch though. Anybody on Earth who did not get on the UFO whenever it got here would be recycled, i.e. destroyed, along with everybody else on Earth, and then at some point a new human population would grow.
Like some Matrix bullshit?
And another UFO would come, and whoever got on that would be saved over and over and over again. That was just how it worked. And Bo and Peep were telling everyone they talked to about Heaven's Gate that we're already...
I don't think she needed to be a nurse at the crazy house. I think she needed to be in the crazy house.
In end times. Apparently there were signs that this UFO is going to be here any day. And so now is the time to join the cult. And so by 1975, Bo and Peep had recruited 20 people to be a part of their cult, which meant they gave up their families, they gave up their possessions, they basically gave up everything in their life and moved to Colorado to live in total poverty as they waited for this UFO to arrive. For 10 years, cult members waited and waited for this UFO that never showed up. And Bo and Peep are aggressively reminding people that this is the path, you just gotta stay the path. And then Peep unexpectedly died of cancer in 1985, which really screwed things up for the cult. In their doctrine, it was destiny that Bo and Peep would get on that UFO and make their way to Tela, the evolutionary level above human. That was their destiny. And now Peep has died on planet Earth. She did not get on the UFO. She did not ascend to Tela. She will not get to Heaven's Gate. Bo was devastated and horribly depressed, and it wasn't really clear what was going to happen to Heaven's Gate. But he composed himself and he began to tweak his messaging a little bit. Bo began telling his followers that Peep had in fact
So this crazy ass motherfucker got put in a crazy house where he met a nurse working at the crazy house that should have been in the crazy house, and then they came together and made a cult of craziness. Then she dies from cancer, and now let me guess, this motherfucker's gonna be like, no, brothers and sisters. When she passed, that was them taking her to transcendency. I would make a horrible cult leader.
Ascended to Tela. Yes, she did not get on the UFO. However, the aliens must have given her a signal that if she leaves behind this human body, this mere vessel, you'll still ascend to Tela. Basically,
He looks crazier than a fucking loon, bro. He's crazier than a damn bed bug. He is cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Look at his face. He ain't right. I know he's part left, but still, he ain't right. Oh.
preaching to them, if you just end your own life at the right moment, you can go to Tela too. But Bo didn't really know what the right moment was. He didn't know what the trigger was going to be. Until 1995, when astronomers discovered the Hale-Bopp comet was going to be passing.
I remember this from whenever I was younger. Oh my god, this is great.
Passing by Earth 2 years later in 1997. And Bo saw this as the trigger. The UFO was going to be hiding behind the trail of this comet, and for sure, Peep was riding on that UFO, and as soon as it passes by Earth, we need to ascend. And so fast forward to March 26, 1997, as the Hale-Bopp comet passed by Earth, 39 of the Heaven's Gate cult members, including Bo, they began their journey. Bo told them they would be exiting the Earth in 3 groups. And so on March 26th, Group 1 entered their San Diego mansion and consumed applesauce mixed with barbiturates, followed it up with a whole bunch of vodka, and then put a bag over their head and waited for death. Then on March 27th, Group 2 entered the San Diego mansion, knowing full well what they were walking into. They all had specific jobs of how they were going to clean up the mess left from Group 1. They cleaned it up. Then they picked up the Group 1 members and placed them in beds and put a purple cloth over their face before they, Group 2, consumed their own applesauce mixed with barbiturates and put a bag over their head and waited for death. On March 28th, the 3rd group entered the San Diego mansion, and this included Bo, and they did the same cleanup as Group 2. They put the Group 2 deceased members in bed as well, and then they consumed applesauce and barbiturates, followed it up with vodka, bag over their head, waited for death. Bo had given special instructions to 2 of the members that were within that 3rd group to wait until he had exited Earth and take special care to put him in a specific bed, organized a certain way, and then when they consumed their own applesauce and barbiturates followed up with vodka, they should do that in their bed because they're the last 2. There's nobody else to move them. When a former cult member...
Because that makes sense. I would have been throwing red flags on the play the whole fucking time. Bro, I ain't drinking that Kool-Aid. I ain't eating that applesauce. I ain't drinking that vodka. You got me fucked up. I sure the hell ain't putting no bag over my head. Bro. He had to be one slick talking son bitch, or these other people just had to be ignorant of life.
Stopped by the San Diego mansion to check in on the cult. They went inside not knowing what they were up to and found all 39 cult members deceased, laying in bunk beds with identical black and white Nike running shoes on their feet with purple shrouds over their bodies, and they were all wearing matching armbands that read Heaven's Gate Away Team. Just hours before they exited the Earth, each of the groups would perform exit interviews where they would record themselves talking about why they were doing this, why it was important, and what they expected on the other side. They are remarkably cheerful and happy considering what they all know they are about to do. Here are some highlights from those exit interviews.
Okay, we have Thirsody with us, and I believe that you chose the name Thirsody because you wanted to be reminded of your thirst for next level knowledge. Is that correct?
That's right. I know my vehicle's, or this vehicle that I'm wearing is, pretty nervous, pretty scared. Some may say, well, boy, it's quite a irreversible step.
This isn't a troubling circumstance. Don't take it as that. It's just a gateway, just a doorway.
Okay, thank you.
Now you're going to find this old crummy vehicle in a bunk someplace that I'll probably be watching when you check it out and observe your responses and your reaction when you look at these vehicles. And they're all nothing but containers that we've used and bored for the short amount of time.
People in the world.
So is he referring to his own body as a vehicle? Brum, brum.
Who thought that I had completely lost my marbles. They're not right.
So that's going to do it, guys. Let me know what you...
Oh.
And they're all nothing but containers that we've used and bored for the short amount of time.
People in the world who thought that I had completely lost my marbles. They're not right.
Neither are you. No, I'm pretty sure the people who thought you lost your fucking mind was fucking right. You have lost your ever-loving mind. That's not how shit works, okay? Oh, sweet baby Jesus.
So that's going to do it, guys. Let me know what you thought of these 3 stories in the comments. And
I really enjoyed them. That's what I think, MrBallen. I'm going to go ahead and let you know right here, right now, free of charge. This was a good one. And thank you all for suggesting it. I really enjoyed it. That's great. I really actually do remember the last story that we heard from whenever I was younger. I was born in 85, so I was older. What, 12? I remember weird shit, okay? I remember that because it was a hot topic for a long time. It was like Y2K. All right. But is the Hell Bob, is that Haley's comment, or are they 2 different comments? Because I thought it was Haley's comment. They might be the same comment. I don't fucking know. There's a lot of things that go on out there. All right. If y'all enjoyed today's story as much as I enjoyed today's story, please leave a thumbs up. If you're a fan of the spooky, scary, strange, deranged things that just ultimately stick with you because it's just so weird, think about subscribing. 12 years down the line, you're going to be sitting around, someone's going to mention something, but I don't remember that from when I was little, but Bill 5000 did. Yeah. Think about subscribing. I'm here. I hope. I got you. As always, be good to one another. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, so don't drink the Kool-Aid, don't drink the punch, and sure as fuck, don't eat the applesauce.